This is part 3 for estimating ending inventory, and this time we're going to look at LIFO and dollar value LIFO retail methods. I will go through an explanation and then I will show you a model and then I will work through a problem. Estimating ending inventory, this is the second method we can use. Follow the retail method as discussed in part 2, and it is acceptable under GAAP for year-end reporting. Now, transactions again we would possibly have is when we're looking at retail sales, we'd have beginning inventory, purchases, returns, discounts, freight, net markups. Make sure you always do net, and we add those in. And net markdowns, make sure we always do net. We deduct those. Abnormal shortages, remember these are not estimated in the sales price. We deduct that. And abnormal shortages have not been estimated, so they are always deducted before calculating the retail percentage, regardless of the method used. So it doesn't matter which of these four methods used, this is always done before we calculate our percentage. Normal shortages is always after the fact, along with employee discounts. So again, we've already looked at average and conventional in part 2. Now we're going to look at LIFO retail and dollar value retail. So this computes the cost to retail ratio after markups and markdowns. The cost to retail ratio is only used for the layer of additional inventory for the current year, and we assume one layer. So this is our model of how we do it. First of all, we would figure out, we would exclude beginning inventory in our total, and we would come up with a ratio for our current period, and then we would add beginning inventory, and we'd do a separate ratio for that. So you're going to have at least two ratios whenever you do this calculation. Now we've got our total cost of goods available for sale. And now we're going to subtract out our net sales, our shortages, and employee discounts. Now we've got estimated ending inventory at retail. And remember, our layers for our beginning inventory and our added layer have to equal this amount. So what we would do is beginning inventory would be what we started with at retail and cost, and then we would take our estimated ending inventory at retail, subtract beginning inventory to get our current period layer. So our total estimated inventory at cost would then be deducted, and we'd get estimated cost of goods sold. So now let's take a look at the same problem we looked at in part 2. Here's all of our information. So what we're going to do now is we start with total cost of goods available for sale and retail, but we do not include beginning inventory. We then, using this information, compute the cost to retail percentage. Then we add beginning inventory, and we also do a cost to retail percentage. So we have two percentages. We're going to add that together, and now we've got total cost of goods available for sale at cost and retail. We're going to subtract our net sales, normal shortages, and employee discounts to get estimated ending inventory at retail. Now, in this case, because the ending inventory at retail is less than the beginning inventory, we're only going to use one ratio, and that's the ratio we calculated on beginning inventory. And that's going to give us our cost of goods sold at retail and at cost, and we subtract that from cost of total goods available for sale to get our cost of goods sold. And remember that the total at retail has to equal the estimated ending inventory at retail, and I'll show you that in the next problem. Now in this problem, because the ending inventory is less than the beginning inventory at retail, we would use the percentage based on beginning inventory. Now we're going to take a look at one more problem. Our next problem, again, we're going to do LIFO retail method. Here we have it. We have beginning inventory, sales, markups, markdown, net markup, markdowns, purchases, freight in, and estimated theft, which means it was part of the sales price. So we know where we're going to put that. We'll look at our model, and what we'll do is first figure out total cost of goods available for sale at cost and retail during the month. We're going to use this information to come up with our first percentage of 75%. Then we're going to do our beginning inventory and come up with our beginning inventory cost to retail of 70%. Now we have our total cost available for sale at cost and retail. We're then going to subtract our net sales and normal shortages. Now here's where we're going to do our layers. What we're going to do is take the beginning inventory, which is 20,000, times the 70. Of course, we already knew it was 14,000 because we take the whole amount. But to get the layer, what we're going to do is take the 26,400 and subtract the 20, and that's how you get the 6,400. Now, total ending inventory at retail, remember, it has to equal the 26,400 that we came up with. And now we have it at cost. We can subtract that to get estimated cost of goods sold. So that ends that one. And now we'll look at dollar value LIFO. Dollar value LIFO is the same as LIFO, except we're going to use indexes for the layers. Once you determine the ending inventory at retail, we're going to divide the ending inventory at retail by the year-end index to get retail at base. That means it doesn't have any inflation. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take that retail at base minus beginning inventory so we can figure out what the layer was. And then to get total ending inventory at cost, you're going to take your beginning inventory times the index, which is usually 1, times our percentage. And then the layer is going to be the layer at retail, which is the difference between the total and the beginning inventory, times the index, times cost, or the retail percentage. And so now I'll walk you through that so it'll be a little clearer for you. So, first thing we do is we figure out what's our total cost of goods available for sale, excluding beginning inventory. So we come up with our first percentage. And then we do our second percentage, which is our beginning inventory. We're going to add beginning inventory to get our total cost of goods available for sale. We're then going to get estimated ending inventory. We're going to take that estimated ending inventory at retail and divide by the year-end index. And that's going to give us ending inventory at base retail. So now, to estimate the cost for ending inventory, we're first going to take beginning inventory, which would be our base at retail, times the index, times the percentage. Then we're going to take our current period layer, which is base minus beginning inventory, times the index, times the percentage to get the cost. Then we're going to deduct that total from estimated cost of goods available for sale to get our estimated cost of goods sold. So now we'll take a look at an actual problem. All right, here's our problem. We have beginning inventory, we have purchases, we have freight, returns, markups, markdowns, and sales. And assuming the price index increase was 1 at January 1 and 1.2 at the end of the year. Now we can work through this problem. First, we're going to figure out our total cost of goods available for sale, excluding beginning inventory. Remember, you always have to exclude beginning inventory because you're trying to come up with this layer. You're then going to come up with the current period cost to retail percentage, which is 70%. Then you're going to do the percentage for beginning inventory. You're going to total all that to get total cost of goods available for sale, including beginning inventory. We're going to subtract our net sales to get estimated ending inventory at retail. Now, the first thing we have to do is take that 209 and divide by the year-end index, and in the problem it said it was 1.10, so that means it's $190 ending inventory at base retail. So we're going to take our beginning inventory of 125, and we're going to take it times 1 because it's the beginning, times the percentage of 64%, and that tells us the cost for that portion of our ending inventory is $80. Then what we're going to take, in our current period layer, we're going to take 190, which is the ending inventory at base retail, minus the 125 from beginning inventory, gives us 65. We're going to take that times the 1.1 and then times the 70%, and that tells us the cost is going to be 50, which gives us a total estimated inventory at cost of 130, giving us ending inventory of $650. And that concludes this presentation.